Diddy's downfall has sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry and beyond. The blast radius from the uncovering of his alleged offences could yet swallow many more powerful and famous figures. Diddy is accused of creating a criminal enterprise which engaged in sex trafficking, racketeering, kidnapping, bribery and forced labour. His lawyers say he'll fight the charges, but after the testimony you're about to hear, you'll be staggered he avoided the attention of law enforcement for so long. I'll speak to a lawyer, a whistleblower and an insider for an uncensored insight into the showbiz scandal of a generation. And TV DJ Vlad. DJ Vlad, I mean, pretty horrifying listening to these testimonies. What did you make of what you just heard?
Well, Jaguar Wright is known to be a conspiracy theorist. I don't really co-sign anything that she says. I've never had her on my show, and I don't have any plans to have her on my show.
You don't believe her?
She got an album in 20 years, and a lot of this stuff is just stuff she's heard, things she's making up, and so forth. I'm not saying that there aren't serious things that Diddy may have done, but yeah, I can't co-sign anything that Jaguar Wright is saying, if that's your question.
Well, I mean, obviously, since we last spoke, there have now been these charges against Diddy, which are incredibly serious. You didn't think at the time we last spoke that he was likely to face these charges. Are you surprised it's come to this?
I'm not surprised, because I feel that law enforcement in general is reactionary. I think that when you look at high-profile individuals, their arrests, indictments usually come after a documentary, a big TV show, or in Diddy's case, there was this huge lawsuit that Cassie filed and everyone got to see all the details and all the attention that came to it. So yeah, it wasn't a surprise that it actually happened because you've seen this happen over and over again. R. Kelly, Harvey Weinstein, all the attention that he got, and then now Diddy. So yeah, I mean, this is ultimately the world that we live in. But he'll have his day in court. And, you know, his lawyer said that he's not going to take a plea deal, because I think a plea deal at this point is probably going to be very heavy-handed, probably 20 years plus. So it makes sense for him to go to court. But we'll ultimately see what happens, you know, because we haven't really seen, apart from some of the funny stuff of, oh, there's 1 million bottles of lube that they found there. I'm sorry, 1,000 bottles of lube and so forth. We have yet to really see what the evidence is. And I think once we see the actual evidence, then people will actually formulate an opinion on what's happening right now.
Do you think there's a lot of people in the rap world in particular who are pretty fearful right now of where this may all lead? Is it a bit like the Epstein scandal, do you think?
I don't really think so, because, I mean, ultimately, everyone wanted to go to Diddy's white parties when they were happening. You know, if I got an invite, I would go. But there's a party within a party. There's the actual party where the big celebrities go to, the Howard Sterns and the Leonardo DiCaprios and so forth. You never hear of any of them really being involved in any of this stuff. They go home, you know, at 2, 3 o'clock a.m. And then there's the private parties that seem to involve the sex workers and probably certain types of people that are kind of in an inner circle. No. And we'll see if those names ultimately come out or not. You know, I think that when it comes to a situation like the feds, cooperating is a very big thing. And I think if Diddy cooperates and gives up some big names of actual crimes that they committed, that'd be a way of actually, you know, lessening the amount of time that he does, or possibly even walking away.
I mean, what had you heard about Diddy over the years? Obviously, people knew he had parties, they knew he was a big rap star and so on, but the nature of this kind of thing. I mean, I'm asking because when I watched, for example, I met Diddy a couple of times. He was always perfectly charming to me. But you know, I've met a lot of people who are charming and turned out to be monsters. The video that came out of showing him beating up his then girlfriend in a hotel corridor was so shocking that when I watched it, I remember thinking, well, this guy is capable of anything. I mean, a man that would do that, who's that famous, who would do that to a woman in a hotel corridor, public hotel corridor, if he's prepared to be that violent in public, knowing there might be cameras around, he's prepared to do pretty much anything, was my conclusion. I mean, what did you hear about him over the years?
Yeah, I mean, that tape was horrific. And after our interview that we did with Roger Bonds, who I helped to bring onto the show, I did my own interview with Roger Bonds. It was a very in-depth, I think, two-hour interview, where he goes into actually witnessing a lot of women that were physically abused by Diddy. I mean, not only Cassie, of course, which you saw multiple times, but Kim Porter. He was on a trip where Kim Porter got her nose broken, allegedly by Diddy, and flew in a plastic surgeon to fix it. There was a personal chef that Diddy beat up. I actually heard voicemails of her describing it. This wasn't even something that she wanted to come publicly with. There was other women as well that I got details on. So I think that Diddy has a long history of violence towards women, but also of men, because there's also the Steve Stout incident. If you remember that whole situation, he was in a music video with Nas, Hate Me Now, and there was a scene where Diddy was on the cross like Jesus, and I guess he went to Steve Stout afterwards and said that he wants to take that part out. That part wasn't taken out, so Diddy and his entourage show up at Steve Stout's office and they beat him with a champagne bottle, which they ultimately settled out of court for. So I think there's a lot of violence that has happened around him, and I think at this point it's just catching up to him.
There are so many people coming forward now with allegations about Diddy. What do you think about the scale of this case?
Well, before I get into that, I kind of want to address the prior two panelists. First with Mrs. Jaguar Wright. She said a lot of things that were very jarring in her explanation of what she saw and had firsthand accounts on. My concern for her, she's saying a lot of things that could be considered libelous.
Right.
And I would suggest that she contacts an attorney, if only to vet the information she has or purports to have from other victims. At least they can protect her, and then they can also do their due diligence, the attorneys, to make sure that the information she's receiving is accurate outside of the things that she knows and may have proof of. I was very concerned about some of the things that she had said in her prior segment. I also want to address Mr. Vlad, who I know to be a culture vulture, who takes from the Black community and doesn't give back and puts artists in situations where then they are indicted by the police. And he's very much so what we call police type investigation in the Black community. And for him to repudiate what Mrs. Wright has said, I thought was completely out of line. He can say he doesn't agree, which is fine, but for him to be someone who constantly uses the Black community and uses them as a means for his platform, I thought that was very inconsiderate and unprofessional. Now, to get to your question that you asked of me, regarding the victims, there are victims coming out every day, even someone who contacted me last night. So, and it's only standing to be more individuals coming out. I do talk to some of the other attorneys who represent victims that we already have known because they filed cases, who have additional victims who plan to come forward and they plan to file cases against very soon. So it's only a matter of how many more are going to come out, and it seems to be, it'll be very many more.
You've said that you've been contacted regarding the sale of one of the Diddy freak-off tapes, and that it features a very high-profile celebrity. What can you tell us about that?
So actually, I recently was contacted by one of my business partners who's also an attorney, who said to me, well, why are we not writing the demand letter to try to do the catch and kill? And I said, well, if you want to do it, then I'll connect you and you can essentially do it. He was also concerned about wanting to protect the other person who was in the film, mainly because I've known about this for about 3.5 weeks to about a month. I've been communicating with these people who purport to have that videotape. And it wasn't until Thursday night that they outright said, can you write on your letterhead a letter to the individual who's also in the tape and see if they're interested in a catch and kill? And is that something, we'll give you X amount of percentage of it. And at the time I was like, I don't think I want to be involved in this, but I hadn't had time to process. But the other attorney I'm speaking of, he's pretty much been in the know the entire time since I first got contacted by these individuals with the tape. And we're pursuing now a meeting with the three of us for us to broker, I guess, a situation where we'll have certain guarantees that once we make the representations to the person in the tape, that we have some level of assurances that this is a valid
What
tape.
if one of the biggest names in music has been hiding a dark secret for years? From shocking allegations to unsettling videos, the story of Diddy and Justin Bieber is one that's been shrouded in mystery, until now. Jaguar Wright, a longtime industry insider, has come forward with explosive claims that could change everything. Buckle up, because we're diving into the unsettling details of their relationship and what it could mean for both of them. It all started with a video that sent shockwaves through the internet. Footage of Justin Bieber, Odell Beckham Jr., and Trey Songz surfaced, showing the trio in what appeared to be a compromising situation. While some brushed it off as just another wild night, Jaguar Wright claims there's more to the story. According to her, this wasn't just about partying, it was something far more disturbing. She alleges that Justin, highly intoxicated, was performing intimate acts on Odell while Trey Songz acted as a lookout. If true, this raises serious questions about what was really going on behind the scenes. But this video is just the tip of the iceberg. To understand the full picture, we need to go back to the beginning of Justin and Diddy's relationship. It all started when Justin was just a teenager, fresh off the success of Baby. Diddy took him under his wing, promising him fame, fortune, and even a Lamborghini. But as Jaguar Wright points out, this mentorship may have come at a cost. She alleges that Diddy didn't just use Justin for his own pleasure. He also passed him off to friends. This 15-year relationship, once seen as a mentorship, is now being viewed in a much darker light. Over the years, Justin's transformation, from a bright-eyed teen to a troubled young adult, has been well documented. From his struggles with substance use to his public statements about feeling hurt and misunderstood, it's clear that something was weighing heavily on him. One key moment that stands out is Diddy's 2014 pyro party, where Justin was seen holding a suspicious bottle. While some dismissed it as harmless fun, others believe it was a sign of something much darker. As Justin himself later admitted, this was a period of deep pain and confusion, a far cry from the glamorous life he was supposed to be living. But Justin isn't the only one who's been affected by Diddy's alleged behavior. Usher, who mentored Justin early in his career, has his own troubling history with the mogul. According to Jaguar Wright, Usher may have been subjected to similar exploitation during his time under Diddy's wing. This raises a chilling question. Was Usher's mentorship of Justin a way to protect him? Or was it part of a larger cycle of abuse? The Lil Rod lawsuit adds another layer to this story, with claims that Diddy engaged in inappropriate behavior with other male artists, including Meek Mill. If true, this paints a disturbing picture of an industry that preys on the vulnerable. And then there are the parties. Jaguar Wright has made shocking claims about Diddy's infamous freak-off gatherings, where high-profile names like Chris Brown, Rihanna, and Nicki Minaj were allegedly in attendance. Even more disturbing are the rumors that videos of these parties are being sold on the dark web for millions. While the authenticity of these claims is still up for debate, one thing is clear. Diddy's world is far more complicated and far darker than it appears. So where does Justin stand in all of this? In recent years, he's opened up about the challenges he faced growing up in the spotlight. From his struggles with mental health to his desire to protect younger artists like Billie Eilish, it's clear that Justin is still grappling with the fallout of his early career. While he hasn't publicly addressed his relationship with Diddy, sources close to him suggest that he may be open to speaking out, especially if it helps ongoing investigations. Could this be the moment when Justin finally breaks his silence? From shocking allegations to unsettling videos, the story of Diddy and Justin Bieber is one that raises serious questions about the music industry. What does this mean for the future of entertainment, and will justice ever be served? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on this developing story.